Chapter 59 picks up with Suho managing to kill Dongsoo. As he realizes that due to Dongsoo's strong hatred towards his father, he was able to remember his past memories. All those shadow soldiers are loyal companions. It begs the question, due to Dongsoo's actions, whether soldiers like Baru or even Iron were to regain their memories or return to their old selves, would they have or hold just as much contempt towards Jinwoo as Dongsoo did? Suho points out that the difference between his shadow soldiers and his shadow equipment is that the soldiers retain their sense of self and can make their very own judgment. However, the shadow equipment only has the power, leaving the body but removing the soul. Suho goes to arise Dongsoo, but as Dongsoo promised him, he resisted. It takes Suho at least a total of 3 times to gain Dongsoo's shadow, which is a clear contrast to the light novel, where Dongsoo extended his hand towards Suho to be risen. However, Suho has a bigger plan for Dongsoo and refuses to let him go. And with sheer willpower, Suho is able to arise Dongsoo's shadow and make his very own gauntlet, as we see on the title. It takes Suho a total of 3 times to gain Dongsoo's shadow, which is a clear contrast to the light novel, where in the light novel, Dongsoo actually extends his hand towards Suho to be risen. However, in the light novel also, it's important to remember that Dongsoo was being controlled by the Itarim. So in order to get his get back, he decided to side with Suho so he can get his revenge. The gauntlets that Suho attains are heroic grade and give him a plus 280 attack boost. They come with an active skill Smash, which delivers a powerful blow that deals massive damage to solid structures. Personally, I hope as he levels up these gauntlets, it comes with a different ability, because one of the weirdest things with Dongsoo's powers is that we don't really know what his awakened abilities are. With Choi Jungin, he has fire manipulation. With Baek Yunho, he can transform into a beast. But with Kwon Dongsoo, we don't really know what he can do. He's just massively strong. And that's not bad, but that's what every S rank has in their arsenal. In the light novel Soul Leveling, they say he has some kind of light base attack, at least when he was fighting against Sun Jin-woo, but we don't ever see that later on, or in the manhwa or in Soul Leveling Ragnarok either. So hopefully as Suho levels up, he's able to show new abilities that he gains from these different shadow equipment or tools. Eventually, Suho goes to the reevaluation clinic to get himself reevaluated as an S rank. I'm not sure if this is a callback to Soul Leveling, because the same guy that we see here, Kim Panseok, which I honestly don't know who that is. I don't know if this is like a new character that they have, or this is supposed to be someone related, because he does look exactly like the guy from Soul Leveling. But it can't be the same person, because that guy was over to Sun Jin-woo. And Sun Jin-woo is at least over 50 years old at this point, and this guy's 37. So if you guys can tell me how he's related to this, other than just the fact that this is just a callback, please let me know in the comments down below. But this also bummed me out. I was actually hoping that we were going to see Byung-gu, because in the light novel, Suho goes back to get himself reevaluated from E to C. And while he's there, he comes across Byung-gu. The interaction between Suho and Byung-gu is actually funny, because under his ability, Suho mentions that he's a summoner in order to hide his identity as the Shadow Monarch's son, right? And he brings out Baru. As we know what happened to Byung-gu last season, this traumatizes him and he actually passes out. Baru and him have a sort of heartwarming moment where Baru names him or states him as his sort of father and thanks him for the personality that he has right now. And currently in the light novel, Byung-gu was not awakened because the awakened ability or healing ability that he had was consumed by Baru. And although Baru cannot give that back, he left him with a blessing, which allowed him to be able to awaken his ability and become a healer, but this time C rank, which will grant Byung-gu the ability to heal people and be a greater help to those around him. Which is amazing because even despite not being awakened or even not being an S rank, Byung-gu still spends his time trying to help and heal people. So I was hoping that we could at least see him if we were going, if Suho was to get reevaluated, but maybe we'll see him later on in the story. Another important detail that I don't think a lot of people are going to pick up on is that when Suho is introduced as an S rank, he's not introduced as the 10th or 11th or insert number of S rank hunter. He's just listed as Korea has another S rank hunter. And this is a very, very important detail because in Soul Leveling, Sun Jin-woo was stated as the 10th S rank awakener. And this is very important because in Soul Leveling, they did not have a lot of S ranks. I believe at hand, they had Baek Yoon-ho, Jungin, Tae-gyu, and Cha Han. We also know that they also had Gun-hee, Hwang Dong-soo, Eun-suk, and Sung-il-wan, but those four were not there anymore. Gun-hee was out of commission due to his heart problems. Dong-soo went to the US. Eun-suk died during the Jeju Island raid, the second one, and Sung-il-wan was presumably lost within a gate. So they really only had 4 S rank hunters. So when Sun Jin-woo came, this was a very important moment. I don't know if I did my math right. And Byung-gu, I almost forgot about him. That's 10. But with Suho, they only named him as another S rank hunter. And if you guys pay attention, I believe 2 weeks ago, as we were listening to S rank hunters, we saw 2 more unknown S rank, and this is just to show or foreshadow that they have a lot of S rank hunters within South Korea. Due to Sun Jin-woo's involvement, some of the individuals that were supposed to be gone don't die due to Jeju Island. So we most likely still have Eun-suk. Although we don't have Gun-hee, we still have, I almost forgot one more person. Ma, the tank guy. We also have him. But we also will be introduced to some new S rank hunters, which we did not see before, and some that got reawakened and became S rank hunters. A common face that you guys will probably recognize when it comes later on in the story. But this is just a great detail. This just show that the South Korea from the original Soul Leveling timeline to this future right now is completely different. And they themselves could be seen as a superpower, similar to how Japan was with their list of at least 10 to 15 S ranks, I believe. I thought that was another cool detail or slight detail that he added when listening to this. As Suho is getting praised by the crowd and they take their pictures, Jincho makes it clear that it's time to move on to the next step. With Suho now declared as the newest S rank hunter, we are shown to this Monopoly board with the next few steps that we will go through. The first one is pretty obvious if you read the light novel. Since we see the arrow, I want to believe that it's Circa, which is going to be the eventual Ice Monarch. In the second box, we see Baek Yoon-ho, Jincho, and I believe Jongin. Now, this one's the more confusing one because it could be an ample amount of things, because now they're trying to eliminate all the field type dungeons. But in the light novel, there isn't a field type dungeon where all 4 of these individuals are at this place at the same time. But after that, again, we see Cha Han, which is confusing because Circa and Cha Han are supposed to be the same place. So I'm not sure if this is trying to show us that Suho may go by himself, while the rest of the S-rank hunters deal with the field type dungeon in South Korea. And for the final one, we see Liu Jigang. And this is where we go to India, and we're also going to see Set Off. So I'm very excited for that as well. It's also during this time that Jinchul points out that although they've been cracking down and making it harder for Stardust to be distributed, for some reason the Itarim are still able to outmaneuver the Hunters Association, which only leads them to believe that someone within their ranks is relaying information to allow them to maneuver out the way of harm's way of the Hunters Association. Which means that they're going to slowly be more suspicious of the people around them, and that they're looking more towards maybe the S ranks and will slowly be going towards Tiel. I don't know how to say his name. We see in the next panel, as Suho is being broadcasted as the next S rank, Tiel is also in the crowd. It is abundantly clear that he's feeling some kind of discomfort due to the fact that Suho has gained an immense amount of power in a short amount of time. The advantage that Tiel had before has immediately been ripped from under him, and he needs the fragments to come to him more now than ever. Following that panel, we see a snippet of a bee looking at Tiel, foreshadowing Arsha watching over him. Eventually, Tiel goes to a dungeon where his guild is operating in, and after Suho has become an S-rank hunter, his influence has begun to spread, as now he has Baek Yoonho, Choi Jungin, Lim Taegyu, Jin Chol all under him and ready to work with him in order to take down the Itarim. With this information, it makes no sense for Tiel to still try to make connections or try to control S ranks within South Korea. So we will most likely be seeing some outside faces, hopefully, because I remember someone said that Japan is going to return, at least in the manga. So maybe we might see Goto Ryuji again. Hopefully we'll see Learman Newman, if that's Nearman, I believe, the German hunter, or maybe see some American hunters as well, or even the Canadian hunter. At this point, it's as if Tiel and Suho are playing a game of conquest, and currently Suho is winning. Now more than ever, Tiel does need the fourth fragment to arrive, and even the fifth. One aspect of Tiel that I'm starting to like a lot more is his more human personality coming out more and more as he stays on Earth. And I hope that we see more of this when we get introduced to the other apostles, because although he has a disdain for humans, he also has a curiosity towards them, and how although there are lowly humans in his eyes, they have their own free will. And I believe there's like a contrast between the Tiel on Earth and his fragments, because even as we see him bond with his leader fragments, the human Tiel kind of deviates. It wants to do his little own thing, where even he admits in this chapter, after a while, the mission to get the authority of darkness eventually turns towards trying to beat Suho. And this relates right back to the apostles within the light novel as well, more specifically the apostle of evolution, where he also stems away from the initial mission and wants to actually research humans more and more. In his own way, he kind of wants to evolve into a god himself, because similar to how the rulers were able to kill their own god and gain a conscience of their own, we're kind of seeing it right now with Tiel, as he also is starting to slowly deviate from the initial mission. I think that's amazing. Like this makes this character a lot more interesting. It's more so that it's no longer about serving his god, or more so about serving his ego and his own purpose. As he gains more fragments and more access to his initial power, I want to see if that inner struggle between himself will become more obvious to even himself, where we will see him struggle to contemplate whether or not he should uphold what his god or Itarim wants, or go for what he wants to do. As Tiel is focused on his own problems, he is suddenly approached by a mysterious woman who claims that she got lost and hopes that she can join Tiel as they do their raid. But this immediately sets Tiel's red flags off, and he immediately shoots her in the eye with a light beam. Understanding that she's not a regular human, he asks the woman to identify herself, to which we see the woman reconstruct her face and reveal herself to be Arsha. Now, if you guys remember, Arsha was actually introduced way early on in the Bar with Min Sung, and actually in the light novel, Tiel's not the one who takes control of Min Sung, it's actually Arsha. Or at least she tries to, and he gets away. Knowing Arsha and her character, at least if it stays consistent to like the light novel, Arsha is someone who is very, very patient and understands her limits better than anyone else. If she could, and we know that monarchs are way stronger than apostles, if she was already a monarch, she would not be watching Tiel from a distance or even slowly try to approach him cautiously. She would just take him over and make him his own insect soldier to carry out her own will. So it probably means that she needs his help in order to build her own army like she did in the light novel. But the reason why her team up with Tiel is so important is because of the properties of their abilities. When consuming stardust, it leaves a hunter vulnerable to be controlled by Tiel. Arsha is similar in the sense where her honey can do the same thing. It may not be able to empower or upgrade, I believe, in the sense of how Tiel does, but in a sense she can still control them and make them into her own insect soldiers. So if they were to combine their abilities together, that would amplify their manipulation powers a lot more. So that even means that possibly S ranks could be put under their own control. Because even the light novel, Min Sung, who I believe was A rank at the time, after becoming an insect soldier, was able to poison, actually no, I don't know if it was Min Sung or Arsha, but either or, they were able to poison Taegi in S rank so severely that he had to focus all his mana on keeping the poison at bay. It cannot conjure or put together any mana in order to actually attack. That's how powerful and potent her poison is. But with these two together, they're going to be a threat, especially in the upcoming chapters. But I really did like this chapter. I love the introduction. They're building up to a grand arc. I really want to see where they're going with this. I don't know if we're going to next the Glacier Arc dungeon, because we still haven't seen Thomas Andre yet. So we may be seeing him soon. Or if we're going to the Beach Island arc. And that's also going to be amazing. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys take away from it? If you guys know who this guy is or what they're trying to call back to, please let me know down below. It's killing me. I don't know who this guy is. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.